Hello Divine Counterpart Collective, welcome back. So today's video we are going to do the usual weekly check-in, see what the energies are like, where we're all at. Alright, so this is for the Twin Flame Collective, Divine Counterpart Collective, however you identify yourself on this journey. I'm not going to worry about that, the specifics. If this message resonates for you and your Divine Counterpart person, then great. So specifically I do sort of speak to twins or counterparts that are like going through their journey while they're still in a relationship. So solid stable relationship, and you know, the I guess separation is more of an energetic one than a physical one. Okay, so don't worry if that's the case. It's just doesn't matter. Let me tell you, you know, I've spoken to a couple of people that have said, oh gee, I'd rather just, you know, be with my twin or my divine counterpart physically, but still have that, you know, but have their separation be energetic. And let me tell you, there's nothing better about it. It's, if anything, it's a little bit more, I would say personally, I would consider it to be a little bit more difficult because you're living in the same environment, the same house, you know, with your counterpart, and visually everything's fine, everything's good, but energetically you're picking up on things that you know, there's an obvious issue, there's obvious things that need to be worked through that aren't being worked through. And you know, as the divine feminine or however else you identify, being the one with the knowledge of that on a conscious level, where theirs is more of a spiritual subconscious sort of understanding they have, it's difficult. So if you can resonate with that, then I'm here for you. Hence why I'm here. So I've been getting a lot of downloads this weekend, absolutely crazy, and I found myself slipping back into I guess where I was sort of at before I started to make these videos, before I realized that this is part of my purpose, to be sharing this, and my insights and my realizations and understandings as I go through this. And so essentially this is going to be talking about what I've sort of realized and the things that I've noticed. So being in physical union with your counterpart, but being energetically separated at this time it's very like unnerving, because it's sort of like I found myself just really being confused. Like I felt solid and secure and safe in my perspective of what was happening and like what I need to do and how I need to sort of like navigate this. But then all of a sudden I found myself really being confused and really being, I guess, finding myself back in that old sort of story and that old mindset and perception. I guess this weekend I sort of did really, I feel like I had, I guess you could say, awakened to the connection. I sort of had this realization that, you know, whether it be twin flame or divine counterpart or, you know, whatever it be, essentially it's same things but experienced different ways in different collectives. So I realized that I didn't need to put a specific label of divine counterpart being separate from twin flame, because I feel like whether you consider yourself a twin flame or a, you know, divine counterpart or whatever, because obviously my journey is very different. I don't think I've tried to look, I don't think I've seen any counterparts who are in physical union but spiritually separated, emotionally, not spiritually separated, but do you know what I mean? Like there's an energetic separation, and I feel like, yeah, it's coming back to that. Yeah, so I feel like sort of alone in this, and I'm sure I'm not the only one experiencing this, but I'm sure that there are people out there who are going through the same thing in the same way that I am, and they don't have that I guess person that they can look to for support and for understanding. Okay, so I'm happy to be that person, but I also am really happy to find other people that are going through what I am going through. Anyway, up until I guess this weekend, I was sort of like, and I will admit, I was sort of off the whole twin flame arc. I realized I learned about twin flames about 4 years ago. I was at work randomly one day. I used to work in retail, and I was serving this woman, and then she was just like, I think we just got into like a genuine conversation, and all of a sudden she goes, oh, have you heard about twin flames? And I was like, oh, like, no, like what was this? And I was always very spiritually seeking, but I wasn't spiritually aware. And she essentially told me about her twin flame story, and I just thought, like, it was like, I just remember being like really taken aback and being like, what? But also, this is really cool, let me look it up. And I remember looking it up and being like, oh my God, like what? And then, about a year later, I sort of had this experience. I was with someone at the time, we were in a 6-year relationship. I guess you could consider him to be a karmic or some kind of a soulmate. And it was just, it wasn't a good relationship, it never was, but it was just sort of like hanging there out of convenience. And I can't remember exactly what happened. I felt that I was being, okay, best way I can describe it, in Frozen 2, Into the Unknown, that song. And the film clip of Elsa being called by this voice. That's what I felt. And this led me to become very disconnected from my relationship with this person. And I was internally trying to sort this out, going, why don't I feel like I want to be with this person anymore? After years of begging and pleading and trying to get them to treat me the way that I knew I deserved and wanted to be treated by them, they finally do, and now I don't want that. And I remember like just not wanting to be around him, just wanting to just, and I can't remember exactly how it happened, but I remember seeing 333, maybe on the clock or something, and I was Googling it, what it meant. Because I heard that 333 was the witching hour, so I was like really scared of it. I was like, why am I seeing this? And I was looking it up, and then obviously all this spiritual stuff come up. That's why I've got 333 tattooed here, because this is the thing that I guess really got me searching spiritually. And I just went down this rabbit hole, and eventually, I think it was maybe 4 months later, I finally decided to call it quits. I finally decided to end it. I had met someone, I was at this like songwriting retreat thing, and I felt a soul recognition for the first time. I felt like I knew this person before. I thought that I already knew this person, and that sort of led me to, I guess, really sort of start seeking what that feeling meant. And then I got brought back to the whole soulmate recognition, soul contract thing, twin flames, all that. I was like, okay, this is all sort of connected. And then from then till about 2 years ago, I was sort of like, almost 2 years ago, I thought that there were like 3 different people that I guess you could consider catalyst twins, that I thought were my twins. And so eventually I was just like, oh, I'm not even going to focus on any of that. Like, if I feel a strong connection to someone, great. If I don't, also great, because that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a strong connection with someone. I wasn't looking for a twin flame, but I was looking to feel connected with someone. And then when I met George, I felt that pull, but it wasn't that romantic. You know what I'm trying to say? We got on like a house on fire, and we very quickly we were calling each other best friends, and we were just 2 peas in a pod. Like, I was my best self, he was his best self, and like I just felt so pure, and I felt like for the first time someone saw me for who I really was. And it's just sort of hitting me now, like, that makes sense, doesn't it? And so about a month later, after we initially met, the more that the more our friendship grew, the deeper we realized our connection was, and that we both sort of embodied the kind of person we were looking to be with long term. And he sort of said to me, like, you know, like, we would just joke around and stuff, and everyone was like, oh, when are you guys getting together? And we were like, stop, like, we have a completely platonic relationship. Like, and we would get annoyed at people for saying that. And yeah, and then eventually one day, I wanted to just like play a prank on him, because there was these videos going around on TikTok about, you know, girls with guy best friends, like, going in for a kiss and seeing how they would react. And I wanted to just prank him, because I know he said once before, he was like, oh, should we just like, he's like, should we just kiss and see what happens? Like, just as a joke, because we're very like that. So I knew that he had mentioned that, so I was like, what if we just try? Like, I wasn't like sitting there going, oh my God, I want to kiss him, It was more like, haha, what would happen if I did that? Like, you know what I mean? Just really sort of like playful and just careless. And he dropped me off one night after we had been drinking with a bunch of friends. He hadn't been, but I had. And we usually give each other a kiss on the cheek and a cuddle before like we left or said goodbye or something, because that's just what we were like. And this time I turned in to pretend to, like, my plan was to go in to kiss him, get him to go in to kiss me back, and then just like pull away and just like, haha, kidding, or something like that. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it. So when he turned over to give me a kiss on the cheek and say goodbye, I sort of like lingered and went to kiss him. And then I was thinking, wait, should I just do it? Like, because I had no intentions of doing it. I was like, should I just do it? And I was like, nah. And I was like, maybe I should. Oh, what's the harm? And we kissed. And I feel like that was sort of the moment of recognition, I guess you could say, romantic recognition. It was the most beautiful kiss I've ever experienced in my life. And I think he would tell you the same. Even to the point where I left my phone in his car, and I got inside and freaked out because I was telling Mum. She was like, you're like flustered. Did something happen? And I was like, Mum, I was like, stop. Like, I just realized I've just left my phone in his car. Like, I can't deal with this right now. Like, and she's like trying to ask me questions. She's like, I told you about him. Like, I told you he was the one for you. And I was like, Mum, just stop. Like you're really stressing me out. Like, I was swearing at her, like telling her to stop. And I was like, I've left my phone in his car. I don't know his number off by heart. The only thing I can do is message him on Facebook on your phone. Like, I don't know what to do. So I ended up having to get my sister to call him through Facebook. And he was like, hello? And she's like, oh, Kim said she left her phone in your car. So he turned back around, and it was just so funny. Anyway, I'm going on a bit here, but I just realized, yeah, this weekend I had this realization that just because the journey looks different than what majority of people are, I guess, reporting of their experience, doesn't mean that it's any less significant, and doesn't mean that just because you're seeing a video or something that resonates with, you know, a divine masculine message, what your divine masculine wants to tell you, and it's resonating with what's going on, just because you guys, the dynamic that you guys share and what you're going through isn't what everyone else is going through, doesn't mean that it's any less valid or any less significant. Him and I have always knew that we have a very significant relationship and connection, even to the point where we would like help our parents with their marital issues because of the way that we deal with stuff. And you know, 18 months on, it got to a point where, okay, all this childhood trauma is coming up, and I guess you could say usually what is what happens in like a twin flame relationship, and it's what drives that separation. And in a sense, it has. It started with me realizing all this stuff and delving into it, and then which then triggered him, and now that's where he's at, and he's sort of overcoming his own blocks when it comes to speaking up about his emotional needs. When we've been talking about this on here, but I've just had like a broader understanding and a broader realization about why I'm actually here. Because I hadn't planned to do this or share anything about this. But since this has been happening the last 2 months, yeah, like 2 weeks ago, I just had I was seeing it a lot in my clients that I would get on TikTok and Etsy. So many people coming to me with the same thing, and I felt like I was repeating myself over and over and over again. I was like, do I need to share this? Because I feel like no one talks about this. No one has these realizations. So I did. And that's why I'm here, and it's just becoming more and more obvious. And I feel like my gifts, my psychic abilities and gifts are growing, and I feel like I'm connecting. Like I never used to meditate. I never used to sit down and meditate to get information. And I'm now able to just sit there and tap in. So this is where it's bringing me here. Last night, I was meditating on the connection, and at the time I thought it was just sort of my connection, but silly me, because everything that I go through I share here anyway, because that's what's essentially happening to those who are in this collective. If you guys as well are sort of resonating this, like a little bit with my story about how you guys don't necessarily, like, the separation looks different than what you've researched or what you've read or what you've heard talked about, look up monadic twins. MJ over at Soulful Revolution TV does a video about the different types of twin flames, and I stumbled across it this weekend, and it really made a lot of sense. But let me give you a definition. So there's monadic and split soul twin flames. So I think that the split soul twin flame is the, I guess you could say the typical what we hear about, you know, the two souls being in one soul being split in two and in two different bodies. And the monadic twin flames, I'm just reading you something from Reddit. Split soul twin flames, they can be young or old souls. Their lesson is to unite, and if in this life they unite, they become one person. So in previous lives they were one person, their soul split the energy because of a major trauma or some other reason. Their goal is to unite and become one person again. Oh, there's a bunch of different here. So earthling monadics, twin flames. Apparently the divine mission only applies to monadic twin flames. Okay, so when we talk about mission, and I very much always felt like there was George and I had a mission. We were to show and to lead by example. You know, me having a Leo rising and being very much someone who was comfortable being out there and open and in the spotlight, and him having a Leo North Node, right? It very much makes a lot of sense. So apparently the divine mission only applies to monadic twin flames. Split souls are only learning about self-love and personal lessons. They don't have a mission to help humanity. Earthling monadic twins have a lot of previous human lives, hundreds, and are toward the end of their reincarnation on Earth. They incarnate together when they are ready to graduate the Earth School, and I've always felt like I am such an old soul, and that's what I recognize within George too. We both sort of like, there was a mutual understanding there that we both were mature, and had a mature understanding and sense of things. And that doesn't mean though that, like, you know, we're not going to come across difficulties or lessons where we have to overcome trauma and stuff. You know, that's why we're here. We're still here to learn. This is the last time learning. And MJ talks about something. I'll link the video down below. Really go and follow her, guys. Subscribe to her. She's amazing. I've watched her since the beginning of my journey, like spiritual journey, since 2018. And she's just been that one reader that I always go back to, and it always brings me a sense of, I don't know, it's like we speak the same soul language. She really is a guide for me in a certain way. And she talks about, I'll have to watch it again, but she talks about the 29 degrees, which is called the Anoretic Degree, when it talks about astrology. And I love that she incorporates astrology too, because I'm very much that person. And I have 29 degrees in Venus. Venus, planet of love. It's also not just planet of love, but I've always felt like, especially in this life, right? Because I can remember this life, I've always really felt like it's almost like I'm just grasping. I can't quite catch it, can't quite get it. And so yeah, that's really interesting. I'm just checking to see where, if George has 29 degrees anywhere in his chart. Yes, so he has, oh wait, what is that? He has a couple of asteroids in 29 degrees. Well, he has his Mars in 28 degrees. He has his part of fortune in 29 degrees. So yeah, the Anoretic Degree is let me get you a definition. I'm very much like this. The degree from 29 degrees is called the Anoretic Degree. Some astrologers define this degree as the Fate Degree. As these last degrees are considered problematic, Anoretic Degree can be defined as a peak. It is the final point that a degree can reach before moving to another sign. So looking into critical degrees, right? Okay, so 0 degrees. Okay, 0 and 29. Look into that. Go watch MJ's videos, guys. It's really awesome. Okay, so getting on to the collective energies that I meditated on last night, okay? So I definitely, this morning, okay, early this morning, I can't even remember how it came to me. It must have came to me in like my dream state, but it came to me the threefold flame. Okay, look into that. It's there's a lot of information that it's not being clear. I'm going to be having to do some more research into that, as well as the violet flame. So with Saint Germain. Okay, so when I was meditating yesterday, the first sort of things that sort of came to me was the human heart. So I saw a human heart, and the arteries, the red and blue arteries. The blue one, there was a lot of, my guides were putting a lot of significance on the blue artery. And then I heard the heart's antechamber. Had no idea what that meant, but I found out that the blue artery, the blue vein, so this is what it says. It's very interesting, and it made a lot of sense because I was sort of seeking guidance on how I can sort of reground myself, because I was feeling very ungrounded. I was feeling very confused and feeling like I was back in that old story of focusing on the lack of what I wasn't getting or what I wasn't feeling in my connection. And I sort of wanted to know where that was coming from. And this has really helped me, this meditation, this channeling that I did, because it made me realize that we are so much like we are so connected to our counterpart. And I guess up until now I had seen him as separate. I had seen him as my equal, but I had seen him as separate to me, which this sort of just highlighted that he is absolutely not separate to me. We are so connected that however I treat myself and whatever I do with myself, that is going to be reflected to me from him. So the large red vessel of the heart is the large artery that carries blood from the left ventricle to the arteries of the body, right? Now the large blue vessel is what I had been channeling, is the large vein that empties blood into the right atrium of the heart. So it sort of allows it to go back. The coronary veins, blue, take oxygen-poor, deoxygenated blood that has already been used by muscles of the heart and returns it to the right atrium. So the right coronary artery supplies blood to the right atrium, the right ventricle, bottom portion of the left ventricle, and back of the septum. So when you look at the heart, right, you can see how sort of like intertwined the red and the blue. So I feel like for whatever reason, I was being sort of guided to, where is it? So the blue vein, meaning it sort of like pumps the blood back in. So in this instance, what I feel like my guides were telling me, or higher selves or whatever was telling me, was that the lack of blood that I'm feeling within the connection, blood meaning love, is a byproduct of the lack of blood that I'm infusing. So I feel like there's the two sections, right? The red and the blue, they work together, right? They're a team. One can't work without the other. And what happens is the heart stops working properly because one pumps through, one pumps back through. So like a figure eight, it's recycling the blood, okay? So like this, empties blood back into the atrium of the heart, right? So I realized from that, I was sensing more of a physical disconnect, and I was noticing he wasn't around me as much. He was sitting in here and I was in there, and we barely spoke the whole weekend, really. It was obviously needed. I feel like he was doing stuff in his, essentially, yeah, I was doing that. He would have been doing that too, in a different way maybe. But if I wanted to feel more love from him, I had to be more loving. Again, back to what we first realized. So if you're sort of stuck back there and realizing like, oh, you know, like he's gone again, like, you know, things are going really good. I felt really connected to him. He seemed really present within the connection. Now things are going again. It's because we've disconnected. So when we notice a disconnect, it's because we're somewhat disconnected. And it's a tricky thing because we don't disconnect in the same way, like physically, like visually, that they do, where we're observing them disconnecting in a way that we don't, but we're not realizing that whatever it is that we're doing, we're actually disconnecting, okay? I also noticed too gut issues. Now this is a little bit TMI. I noticed a lot of like IBS, irregularities in him and then in me. So it's like he'd been dealing with that the last 3 weeks, and now I'm realizing that I'm dealing with that. Even to the point where yesterday, I was having a lot of stomach pains when it woke me up from my sleep in the morning. I was having really bad stomach pains. And this is something that I have experienced before, which I think goes back to, I think I have some type of autoimmune, which I'm going to be seeing about. George, actually, we suspect he has psoriasis of the scalp too, so psoriasis is an autoimmune disorder or disease. I don't know what they consider that. So I think as well, there's a really interesting link between that. So yeah, yesterday morning I was woken shockingly out of my sleep due to like severe pain in my lower abdomen. So I naturally went to the bathroom, and very, very quickly the pain started to get even worse, to the point where I was starting to pass out. So this is about the vagus nerve here. And I feel like the vagus nerve has a lot to do with this. I'm going to be looking into this over the week, see how that sort of like plays out in different ways too, but you guys may have been noticing vagus nerve activation. I really suggest doing a vagus nerve meditation. It's only a 15-minute one. I'll put the link in the description. I did it last night and I felt amazing. But I essentially was passing out on the toilet. It's almost like my body thought that I was dying yesterday morning in the bathroom. And I was drenched in sweat, my whole body. Within literally 2 minutes, my whole body was sweat. I had to get the bathroom bin and just hold it there in case I threw up. It was just really, really weird. And I feel like this was a energetic releasing, because I was fine, literally fine. Like 10 minutes, I was fine. It was really weird, really, really weird. So also when I was meditating, I saw tulips and then I saw peanuts. So tulips is, I looked up the spiritual meaning of tulips, and it talked about divine love, perfect and deep love. The most known meaning of tulips is perfect and deep love. As tulips are a classic flower that has been loved by many for centuries, they have been attached to the meaning of love. They are ideal to give to someone who you have a deep unconditional love for, whether it's your partner, children, parents, or siblings, which I think is absolutely beautiful. Wow, okay. The flower assists you in finding the divine beyond, this flower assists you in finding the divine beyond words. Often we become hung up on the small stuff, little trifling details that merely take us away from, I'm just clicking on it now. I also saw a lotus flower too. I just remembered that. Okay, let me write that. Sorry guys, I know this is long, but I channeled a lot of information that I feel like is really important to the reading too, okay? Little trifling details that merely take us away from our larger goal, spiritual peace and connection. Tulips pulsate to higher planes with the big picture of salvation and transcendence. Wherever you see a tulip, there is a portal to joy, which is very much what I've been wanting to sort of feel. Now the lotus, this is the flower of consistent meditation. Wow. Day in and day out, the presence of the lotus in any state of openness reflects and honors your connection to this world, to the present moment, and to all the worlds beyond this mortal coil. That is very interesting. I want to say more about the lotus here. Okay, so I also noticed having a conversation with his inner child. So as I was meditating, it just naturally happened, and I saw him sitting there like when he was like seven-year-old self, and he seemed really, really sad. So I walked over to him and I asked him what was wrong, and he essentially told me that he was feeling lonely, and I asked him why. It took him a while to to say anything to me, and I realized that, you know, it was very reminiscent of him not being open about talking about, you know, what's bothering him now and things like that. And he said that he felt lonely, and I asked him why he felt lonely, and I asked him if it was because of me, and he said yes. And I said, oh, that's interesting, because I feel lonely too. And he goes, you do? And I said, yes. I said, I feel like you're being really quiet and ignoring me. And he goes, no, I feel like that's what you're doing. So we're mirroring each other. So I said, okay, so when you get like that, when you get quiet, what can I do to help you? And acknowledgement. And I said, yeah, I said, what can I do to help you? And he shrugged his shoulders and he said, what did he say? I wrote it in my phone. I don't know, I guess comfort. So he wants comfort when he gets like that, or encouragement, attention. And I feel like to him that it's not something that's natural to ask or need or want attention. And for me it is. And I feel like that sort of, that really triggers that. And then I said, sure, I can. I said, like, why do you, what makes you like that? And he said, like, I feel like I'm always making mistakes when you ask me to sort of like, sorry, my neighbors, you can hear them. You know, I feel like I'm always making mistakes when you tell me, like, hey, I feel like we're really disconnected, like, can I have a little bit more like physical touch from you lately? That's triggering him at the moment, because, well, you know, it felt like pressure because he's used to being parentified. And when he gets quiet, he wants comfort. So I said, okay, I can do that. And then at that moment, I transformed into my inner child, my 7-year-old self, and I said, but can I tell you something? And he goes, well, yes. And as soon as I transformed into my inner child, I saw him sort of perk up a little bit. So this is sort of indicating to me that there needs to be a flare of simplicity and joy and fun. It takes the pressure off. And I said, well, I get scared when you go quiet, so it's hard for me to automatically think and go to comfort you. And he said, why do you get scared? Like, he just had no idea. And I guess you could say this is us, our higher selves, talking. And it's interesting because at the time that I was meditating, George was having a nap in the lounge. So I feel like definitely that's why maybe that information was coming through a lot faster. And I said, because in the past, when people go quiet around me, or they don't really give me much attention or pay attention to me when they're not acting normal, it's because I've done something wrong. So I was, you know, taught, essentially, I explained to him, not in these words, but that me being my truest self triggers people, and I was always taught to be courteous of others in order to not steal too much attention or make people feel bad. So I keep myself subdued in order to keep everything and everyone at bay, everyone happy. And it's interesting because that's mirroring what his childhood was like too, in the sense of he didn't ask for acknowledgement, he didn't ask for that attention, for that, you know, because someone else always needed more. So can you see how it's the same thing but in very different ways? And I feel like this is the perfect show of the ascendants here. I'm a Leo rising, expressive, attention. And the axis of Leo is Aquarius, which is his rising sign, okay? Aquarius is all about the people, community, others, humanitarian, doing things for others. So I feel like he can get very stuck in worrying about others. And so can I, right? In my relationship, right? Because I have Aquarius in the 7th house. So in relationship, I am very much about providing that to the other. And he's got Leo in his 7th house. So he's very much about, I guess he might need a little bit more attention because he's never had that. So it's really, really interesting that, really interesting. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do the 4-card spread as usual with the Whispers of Love Oracle and see what's going on for the collective this week. Oh, and a beautiful thing as well that his inner child also said when I was channeling images like stars, like images of stars, and I didn't really pick up on it much, I didn't pay much attention to it, but it made sense after he said this, right? He goes, you know, but that's what I love most about you though. You make me feel like a star when you allow yourself to shine. So I've gotten in the habit of subduing myself in order not to take attention away from anyone else, or not to seem like I'm demanding too much attention, or, you know, because I do have that commanding presence naturally. It's always been the way for me since I was a kid. I've always been the center of attention in the spotlight, and I've always thrived there. Not in a negative sense though. Just in a, this is just what it is. And I've always also thrived away from it too. But I feel like I'm more myself when I'm allowing myself to be center of attention. And when we say center of attention, it has such a negative connotation because it's being told that being center of attention is wrong. And it's not necessarily wrong or right, it just is. There are some personalities that command attention, and there are some that aren't, and they're both just as impactful, and they both have just as much meaning and value as the other. All right, let's see. Okay, Divine Feminines, Divine Masculines, Combined Energies, and the advice. All right, so Divine Feminines, we are this week, act as if your partner is here. Whether you have someone in your life or not, act as if they are with you, so you will always consider them. Okay, so for those of you who are in physical separation, very much true. But for those of us who are in physical union, but physically in communication, but energetically separated, this is what I was talking about when I was talking about needing to sort of give the giving. So if I want to receive, I need to give. And the reason why I get into the habit, I don't even realize it happens, I pull back, and then I'm seeing him as pulling back and not realizing that it's me pulling back too, that's sort of eliciting that, because we are both current, like with these connections, one can't work without the other. So it's not a matter of, oh, make sure you're not over giving because they're taking advantage, like I had experienced in many other of my connections in the past. This is about, no, counterparts. You cannot, it's like one person makes the water come through the sink and the other person is turning the tap on and off, right? That was a really weird, the faucet, very weird explanation, but it's like you can't get the water unless you open the tap. So I need to open the tap and allow the water to come through. And sometimes they're going to do the same thing, but in different ways. So this is where sort of we're at right now. So acting as if your partner is here, okay? Acting as if, you know, and realizing that, okay, so the reason that they may be disconnected from us is because we're disconnected from them. It's really, really interesting if you sort of pay attention to that dynamic there. If your actions and thoughts take into account someone else's feelings, you will be more in alignment with a true relationship. If your partner is not with you yet, generate the feeling that you are already sharing your life with your special someone. This will change the way you feel and can alter your attitude and your potential to attract them into your life. Okay, so for those of us who are just energetically in separation, it's the same thing. So if you want to receive some love, if you want to feel love from your partner, right, from your counterpart. You need to be willing to give that. And it's so, I laughed when I realized this, because I was sitting in my room all weekend going, like, he's napping and he's playing his game, and which is fine, but I feel so like he's like not talking to me. He's not concerned about, you know, seeing where I am or making sure I'm okay. He's out there, like we're just in separate parts of the house. Like, what's going on? And then it dawned on me, and I was like, oh my God, I'm doing the exact same thing. I'm not going out there, you know, sitting on the lounge. I could easily come and sit here on the lounge with him and do my own thing while he's doing his own thing, like we always used to do. Why am I not doing that? And I didn't realize that I was pulling back. So, haha, Divine Feminines, check yourself. Okay, so Divine Masculines, have faith. Trust your faith in this situation. Okay, so they're needing to sort of have faith here. Believe that things will work out. The faith will confidently see us through. The angels are with you. This is something that you can have complete faith in. Knowing simple truths will give you the answers that you are seeking. Love is an act of faith. I just saw 11:11 recording. It was recording for 11 minutes and 11 seconds. Wow. Okay, so this is very much confirming what I just thought. This is very much in talking about them going through what they're going through internally. So I feel like because they've been, okay, I don't know about you, but George was doing a lot of sleeping this weekend. Like a lot of sleeping. He finished work at 1:30 yesterday, got home, and I went out to do some shopping with my sister, and came back and he was asleep. I got home at around 4 p.m. and he was asleep on the lounge, and I just let him sleep, and he didn't wake up until around 8 p.m. We went and got some dinner, because Sunday night is dinner night, like takeaway night, and he went straight back to sleep again after dinner. So lots of sleeping. It was like that on Saturday too. I just saw 12:12. So let me know if any of you guys see the number 212. That's very much my twin flame number. And I was meditating on that too, which is where I got some of that information from. So they're needing to have faith in themselves, have faith in the situation that they can overcome this, because I feel like for a lot of these masculines, they haven't felt this type of, they've never had to face this in a relationship before. I don't know about you guys, but I'm George's longest relationship. Similar feelings like this might have come up in his past relationships, but it definitely hasn't come up to this extent. Like what this is talking about is them having to really face their shadow here, really having to face their trauma, their fears, all of it. They can't escape it anymore. Combined energies, love who you are. Oh my God, wow. You are a divine and wonderful person, deserving of all the wonderful thing that life has to offer. We're both sort of realizing this right now, and I've got my notes right here. While George was napping last night, I got out my old journal from when we first met till about when we moved into this place. So about a year almost. No, actually it was about 6 months. And I was just sort of wondering, like, you know, what happened? At what point did, you know, we go from being how we were in the beginning of our relationship to, not that it's bad, it's just very different. And that sense of, I can't explain it. It's not the same. And I'm thinking and I've realized that it's because I've changed. I'm not the same. And again, we're a complete reflection. So whatever we're doing, they're doing. And it's not necessarily because of one of us doing the thing that causes the other person to do the thing to reflect that. It's more of just the trail. Okay, right? Again, the figure 8. It's like, okay, they give me a flock of birds. When birds and fish, school of fish and a flock of birds. When one goes one way, they all follow. That kind of thing. So it's more like, and there have definitely been times where the Divine Masculines have done that and where we've done that. It's just, but it's supposed to be that way, right? Because we're just going with what our soul's doing, and our souls are leading this. And it's bringing us to what it is that we need to work on, that we need to learn, that we need to sort of fix. And I realized Camila Cabello's new song, Psycho Freak, featuring Willow Smith, that came out on Friday, and I have been obsessing over it all weekend. I cannot get it out of my head. I'm gonna do a cover of it, and I'm gonna upload it. I might even post it on here as well. I just feel like this is really where the Divine Feminines are at. If you haven't heard that song already, listen to it. It very much, the lyrics are crazy. And I'd written here, how did I lose me? Why don't I allow myself to exist without pressure? This is the exact same thing that they're going through. I'm just realizing it right now. Reading back on my journal in the beginning of mine and George's relationship, I went straight into needing to become stable. I was trying to get a job straight away to start our life, so that we can move out and begin our life. Like literally not even a month into the relationship, I was writing about trying to manifest a good paying job so that I could save up money quickly so that we could move out and start our life. And I wrote, was this out of fear? Was it to escape our families? Was this to push for growth in order to lock it down? I don't know about you guys, but that's been very much a pattern for me. I became obsessed with earning a good enough living, a good enough income so we could move out. Why did I tell myself I had to stop having fun and enjoying myself and get back to work? It was almost like as soon as I had something pleasurable in my life, something that brought me a great sense of joy, that it was like, nope, you gotta get back to work now, you've got it, let's lock it down. It's like closing the sale. And I had no idea until I just read the journals last night that, oh my God, it was months and months and months. So from October till February, till I got the job. Like, you know, I was obsessed with needing to solidify this, and I didn't realize that this is solid on its own. This is obviously due to past experiences in relationships where I've never been able to get it off the ground. It's never really gotten off the ground. From the beginning, I was, you know, subconsciously operating that way. The advice here is honesty is essential. To be a loving person, it is important that we speak truthfully and in a loving manner. So the combined energies, let me read that first, is number 8. Love who you are. Be your own advocate. Believe in yourself. Love who you are, and the energy of self-love will help you to realize your dreams. When was the last time you gave yourself a pat on the back or acknowledged that you love yourself? Working on a good relationship with yourself will enable you to have a positive relationship with others. Okay? So I feel like that's where we're at. Combined energies, how it's contributing overall is that's what we're working on. So we're working on the smaller things, but it's actually encompassing a bigger thing that we're needing to work on together. And then the advice here, honesty is essential. Love seeks to do what is best for another person. Speak honestly. Tell the truth about your emotions. Use this as an opportunity to clear the air and turn this into a positive outcome. Okay, so obviously that is going to not apply to all of you, but for those of you who are resonating with that, let's get a couple of cards to see what that's sort of talking about more specifically. We've got a flower being given by this divine masculine here, and notice how he's wearing a mask. Okay, I feel like it's talking about an opportunity to have somewhat of an honest discussion, okay, with each other. We've got the death card here. Yeah, I feel like we're both being sort of conflicted about this. So when we've got in mind and when we're remembering that we're a team, right? We work together. What one works on, the other works on. So when we work on being honest and authentic with ourselves, we can move into calmer waters. We can move forward, okay? When we no longer hold back. Now, this is a tricky concept because, you know, the Divine Feminines, this is about abandoning the self here. It's tricky for us to find feminines because I feel like we're the ones that are wanting to sort of give this information and give all these insights to our masculine, but, you know, they shut down or it's too much pressure. And in this case, it leaves them feeling not good enough because it makes them feel like they are making mistakes, right? But with this honesty, and in a loving manner, okay? So we can sort of express this honesty as best we can right now to sort of elicit an opening and cultivate a safe environment so that we can have that open and honest discussion later on, okay? So it's about being honest in how you feel, not sort of like for example, not holding back on giving love in your connection, whether it's energetically, right, in 5D, or, you know, if you're in physical separation, or whether it's in the 3D, if you are physically connected. It is important to, not hold back, because when you're feeling neglected, look back at that. When you're feeling neglected, it's mainly because you're neglecting yourself in some kind of way, okay? You're not acting honestly and authentically to yourself, okay? We've got the Knight of Wands and the Seven of Pentacles here. So this is taking action, going after what it is you want. This is a different, we need to remember, this is a different kind of connection than everything in the past. We're not over giving, right? Taking action on, you know, just because things aren't working out in a full sort of like a full frontal way doesn't mean that we can't still do what we can in the way that we can without pushing, you know, without creating that further distance, you know, runner chaser type of thing. We can still get what we want, just we have to do it in a different way, but we can only do that when we take action, okay? Let's see some messages from the Divine Feminine here in relation to the advice. Meditate and contemplate. And that's exactly what we've been doing, and I feel like that's why I needed to do that last night. So definitely do what I did. Have a moment where you just sort of like really tune in. For me, I find it easier to do that when I'm in a tired, like dreary, droopy state. I'll sit up and I'll, you know, just sit there and just let whatever comes up. I put voice memos on, started recording, and just spoke out what I was seeing as I was seeing it, because that helped sort of, that helped me go back and remember, what do you need to release? So it's this releasing the need for me, right? And releasing the need to feel as though I can't express myself, right? So and it's funny because what we're wanting is we're wanting the Divine Masculines to express themselves to us. So in order to do that, we can't continue to stop ourselves from expressing what it is that we want. In this sense, it's giving love, okay? And as well, like I noticed as well, I really sort of have this thing where I feel like everything is happening to me, like the universe decides, and that's not true. I decide. And sure, what we decide for us is what we're deciding for our masculine, but our masculine is always doing the exact same thing. So it's not about us controlling them or them controlling us. It's we're a unit, right? So whatever we are thinking about this, you know, like whatever we're thinking about doing is based on what the other person is wanting. Things like that. Take time to breathe out. So really being gentle with yourself here, and really sort of like taking time to breathe out so that you can sort of hear that inner guidance. Let's get one more. A lot of watery energy here, guys. And I think that's why as well, this is Venus and Pisces for sure. This is why as well, I feel like it was very easy for me to connect yesterday. I don't know what it was. I want to say, when you feel confused, when you feel like you're going back and you're like, oh my God, I'm feeling that like sense of disconnect and that loss again, like why is he doing this, or why do I feel disconnected from him? It's because you're disconnecting from yourself. Okay, so when you feel that, go, okay, where am I disconnecting from myself right now? And I'm projecting it from him. Luck is on your side. So, I feel like as well, there is something here about our masculines really receiving the same energy that we do. So this is something that I've been sort of struggling with up until now, where I've been like, you know, I'm worried that I'm doing all this work and he's not going to, because he's not open the same way that I am when it comes to, you know, I'm spiritually seeking, he's spiritually sensing. Wow. Okay. And he has a Pisces moon, so he's very in tune, more than I think I give. Again, this just flipped out again, more than I give him credit for. But I think because we're so connected, and realizing, I think this weekend I finally realized that we are, how connected we are, and what that actually meant. And you know, whatever I understand, whatever I learn, and sharing it with you guys helps not only mine, but your guys' masculine too. So, and along with the power of you guys understanding and comprehending and realizing these energies, that this is what's going on and how it's relating to you, that gives you, that helps your masculine understand that too, okay, on a sensing level. So he may not cognitively understand this, and I feel like later on when things are, you know, when union and things like that, I feel like you guys will be able to have a conversation about that, because right now it's the whole expressing ourselves, expressing themselves is what the masculines are dealing with, and us, I guess. So what can we tell us about the Divine Masculines, please? They're surrendering to the divine right now. So they're not, I feel like, yeah, and I feel like maybe that's why as well we've gotten this, I don't know about you guys, but me definitely gotten this sense of, oh, okay, I feel like I can see again. Like the fog has lifted a little bit, because it was really foggy over the weekend. And it's funny because we surrendered too. Big gust of wind. Your commitment is being tested. So a new romantic cycle begins. Wow, okay. There's a lot of purple happening here. I don't know about you guys. Oh, what was the other thing? With the threefold flame, the violet flame. Okay, I did a violet flame meditation by MJ from Soulful Revolution TV. I will also post that in the description box. Definitely do that. It's not very long. It's perfect. I did it when I was awake this morning, but wanted to go back to sleep. So I just put it on, had my AirPods in. Yeah, violet flame meditation for twin flames. Amazing. There's a lot of violet here. I feel like this is sort of like paying off. Look at all that purple. This looks more blue with the ISO, but I can tell you that it's definitely a lot more purple. And look, we've got here that wind. Where is that coming from? Got a lot of purple here too. Okay, so I want to just get some tarot on your commitment is being tested. I want to see in what kind of way that's showing up for them. Really? Like, oh. Okay, the Chariot, Knight of Cups, and the Two of Cups. So the commitment is being tested to the progression. They're needing to, oh. Can you see? Look at this. Eight of Wands on the bottom. Can you see how when we do this, right, when we allow ourselves to express and give love, they do that too. They're being tested. The commitment to not the connection, but themselves. Their commitment to showing up the way that they are. Their commitment to showing up within the connection. It's not that their commitment to us. Yeah, look, this is forgiveness. Forgiveness of the self, and this is the commitment of healing the wounds and doing the work and overcoming the blockages. Yes, they're very receptive. They're understanding. They're taking in knowledge and information here with the Page of Swords. So this is very much what I was saying. Whatever we're doing, whatever we're understanding, they're understanding. They're spiritually, whatever we're spiritually seeking, they are spiritually sensing. That's really powerful. Yep, union. They're realizing it has a lot to do with them and the way that they show up, just like we've realized. It's funny because it's literally the same thing. Yep, Ace of Pentacles, King of Wands. So they're realizing that there is an opportunity here for them to I don't know why, but I'm getting Break Your Heart Right Back by Ariana Grande, but I don't feel like it's them saying that they're wanting to break our hearts right back. I don't feel like it's connected to that, because that song doesn't make sense to that. So I'm not sure what that has to do with anything. Now that it's over, I just wanna break your heart right back, right back. I want you to cry me a river. Look it up. I don't know. It might have a different meaning, like a double, like break your heart right back, like break it back together. I don't know. I don't know what that could be, but there's definitely an opportunity here for them to take some sort of action. And trust me, like I mean it with my whole being. That song being in my mind when it comes to this it's not a bad thing. Please don't worry. Also, when I was meditating yesterday, Meet Me Halfway was coming through again, okay? And this was what I channeled, I think, in the first video. And the other night, on Friday night, George was playing Fortnite with his friends, and he started singing Meet Me Halfway. I literally heard it from the room. I was like, get out. That's absolutely crazy. Let's get some more of these cards. So yeah, new romantic cycle begins. And that's what we're seeing here with the Chariot, Knight of Cups, Two of Cups, Four of Wands. They're spiritually sensing. Oh, okay. Yeah, conclusions are within reach. So this is going to be the ending of this current cycle, and there's going to be a renewal. Hold your vision. Let me tell you guys, I really feel the need to say that when it comes to like these connections, the separation and then the union phase, I really don't think that it's going to be like a one-time thing. I'm not saying that you guys that you're going to come together, be disconnected and come together. I feel like the physical separation, right? For those who do experience a physical separation, is the initial separation. I think once union happens, I don't think it's all sunshine and roses. Once union happens, it's putting in practice everything that you have been learning in this moment, in these moments of disconnect. So these are always opportunities. This is an opportunity, as painful as it might be, this is an opportunity to reconnect. And I feel like the longer that we are in connection and in union with our counterpart, the more that this comes up. The more comes up. The more we learn, the more we grow, the more things come up for us to deal with and learn with, but it gets easier every time. So it's not always going to be difficult like this, but there will always be moments of disconnect. Not always, but there will be moments of disconnect throughout the whole of the connection. I really just felt the need to say that. So this is like, don't just expect that, oh, you know, a new romantic cycle is beginning. Okay, yeah, we're getting together finally. It's all good from there. Especially, I'm hearing that specifically for those in separation, physical separation, because I feel like those who are in the energetic separation, but physically with their counterpart, I feel like they already sort of have an understanding of this. But the importance of all of this is every time there's a disconnect, every time there's an energetic separation, it is always an opportunity to reconnect in a new way, in a stronger way, in a larger way. I can definitely, from you know, if this is something that you guys that are in physical separation, you guys will be going through where I'm at right now, right? Maybe not in the exact same way, but you will experience moments like this where you guys will need to sort of like check yourselves and be like, oh, okay, bring love into the situation. Yeah, check yourselves and bring love back into the situation and realize, okay, I'm contributing this way, blah, blah, blah. But the initial sort of like separation where you guys are really just not understanding that the repelling, right, of energies, sometimes to the point where you repel each other so far that you physically remove from each other. I feel like that's just getting over the thick of it. So I feel like the tools that we learn in this first initial separation stage are going to be what help us through the little incremental energetic separations. The end of a tough cycle approaches. There will be cycles of toughness, but it won't always be this tough. You know, like 20 years from now, you could have 20 years of being in union and, you know, you've had little bouts of, oh, okay, we've disconnected, we need to reconnect, right? So connecting the Bluetooth back. But, you know, 20 years from now, there could be another bigger, tougher cycle to approach. And that's okay. There's always something to be learned. And I think this first one is really setting the tone and setting the scene for how the rest of it plays out. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it there, guys. I hope that this helped. This is sort of where we're at this week, okay? So just really focus on yourself and just remember to act as if, but also make sure that you are maintaining that acknowledgement and that understanding that how you're feeling about your counterpart being towards you is always going to be the same feeling that they're getting from you, because that's what that's what you're projecting to them as well. So you're both doing the same thing. Now it might be in different ways, so don't be like, I'm not doing that to them. No, but you might be doing it in a different way. So it's important that you're always spiritually seeking so that they can always be spiritually sensing and look the world. Okay? Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of the week. I will leave all of those links down there in the description box. Don't forget, if you guys would like to have a personal reading, a Divine Counterpart personal reading, I can definitely offer that for you guys. Head to the Etsy shop, which is the link for that is down in the description box, as well as head to my Instagram, give me a follow. You can message me on Instagram for a Divine Counterpart reading, and also follow me on Instagram because I do post daily Divine Counterpart messages. All right, I will see you guys for the midweek check-in. Have a wonderful week and see you soon.